Hey there YouTube, I'm Robert Lockwood and this is a review of the Alesis DM10 Mark II Pro electronic drum kit. However, this may not be the review you were expecting. I'm not going to talk about any of the features of the drum kit. I'm primarily going to talk about my experience with this kit and my contact with in-music brands regarding this kit. So I got this kit on December 22nd last year, and I had it in my possession for 210 days, and it is gone. Now, the reason it's gone is because of an excessive number of drum pad failures. And what I mean by a failure is when you hit it and it doesn't make any noise. I experienced the first one towards the end of April. And it was a 12-inch mesh head. The rim still worked, but the center pad quit working completely. I contacted in-music brands, provided them with proof of purchase, and they immediately sent me a replacement, no questions asked. In accordance with the purchase agreement, normally you would have to pay for shipping to send the part back. They would look at it and see if it was a manufacturing defect, and then send you a replacement. And they didn't do that this time. They're excellent. They're great for customer service. I will say that right up front. The second failure was the Pro X hi-hat I had purchased, and that was about a month later, towards the end of May. And I had some chatter. It was ghost noting. You'd hit it, and it would just continue to make sounds. With that one, I did have to pay for shipping to send it back to in brands. They investigated and immediately sent out a replacement, no questions asked. So that was awesome. This past Saturday, during practice, I experienced two more trigger failures. Again, a 12-inch mesh head that quit playing in the center. The rim was fine, just the center head. And one of the dual zone cymbals was working about half of the time. At this point, I'm looking statistically at the number of failures I had over the course of 210 days. On average, once every 53 days, one of the triggers died. And even though in-music brands was replacing them, I could reasonably expect to have at least 3 more trigger failures before the warranty expires in December. I packaged it up, put it in my car, and sold it. I got rid of it pretty much as fast as I could. Now here's the problem. This is an instrument that is intended to be struck with a drumstick, and I'm using 5Bs. There's nothing excessive about a 5B. I am not a basher. I've played with bashers. I know how hard they hit, and I'm not that guy. I've been playing music for a long time, and I've spent a lot of money on gear, and this is absolutely the first time I have ever spent this much money on a piece of equipment that has had this kind of failure rate. Again, 4 trigger failures in 210 days. To the point where I just decided not to own it anymore. It's obviously experiencing some technical difficulties that Alesis hasn't had worked out yet. I don't know that they are working on this or they are not. But when you pay $1,600 plus for a musical instrument, you expect it to survive the warranty period as a minimum. And based on Alesis' reputation and my experience with them in the past, having worked in a retail music store that carried the Alesis brand, and hearing nothing but good things from any of our customers about the Alesis products, the highest praise, which is why I didn't hesitate to buy the DM10 Mark II Pro. I couldn't find any negative reviews on this kit on the internet in the entire month before I purchased it, just to make sure this was the right one. I upgraded from a Roland TD9. Excuse me, I thought I was upgrading. I wanted more pads, I wanted mesh heads, I wanted more voices, and this seemed like a good way to do it. However, I do not believe, honestly, it is. If you're considering purchasing the Alesis DM10 Mark II Pro, and I can't say anything about any of the other Alesis kits. I can tell you I would recommend against purchasing this one, at least for the time being, to see if Alesis is actively working on this problem and if they're going to get it resolved. Otherwise, you're buying a terminally ill instrument and you're just going to watch it die. It won't matter how many of the parts you replace, how many parts they send you before your warranty expires. Eventually that warranty is going to expire and all of your triggers are probably going to fail. And you're going to be stuck with a very expensive paperweight. So, again, InBrands was fantastic. InMusic Brands was fantastic. I don't have any complaints about them whatsoever. They were very supportive, very responsive, very timely in everything they did to make sure I had replacements. And in fact, after these last 2 triggers failed, they offered to send me 2 more without me sending the broken triggers back to them. So kudos to those guys. They're doing a great job. Unfortunately, they represent a brand that may be having some quality problems right now that need to be seriously addressed, because this is completely unacceptable. Feel free to leave your comments below, your experience with this drum kit or with Alesis. I'm not trying to bash them. I'm just saying this is the experience I've had with this drum kit. If that's helpful to you and you're considering buying one, I would suggest against it, at least for the time being. Thanks for watching.